Welcome everyone. We're gonna get started. This is the June 2020 HMIS user meeting. Please enter your agency name in the chat box so that we know who is participating in the meeting. And you all should be able to see my screen. Okay, so today we're gonna give an update on the 2020 HIC and Sheltered Pit. Provide an update on the monthly training webinar that we've been talking about the past couple of meetings, do a check-in on the project performance reports, give you an update on the FEMA unit addresses, and talk about the new case note fields in Looker, and then talk about the HMIS user survey and some website updates, and then there will be some time for Q&A if anybody has any burning questions. So first up, HIC and Pit, Adriana.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so I hope you all are doing well. I just want to give you a quick update about the HIC and Pit, as Erin was saying. First, we have officially completed your documents review. So we're pretty happy about that. And once again, I want to thank you all for all your work and the help while completing this process. We really appreciate that. Right now, we are working on submitting the data to HUD. So we're going to send you a copy of your HIC final data, which is like the data that has been submitted. And we would like to ask you to review it and confirm that everything looks correct, just in case we need to do any final or little changes. We are probably going to send that on Monday, and you will have about a week or a week and a half to complete that review. And that would be it. That would be the last step, and you guys will be done with the process. Our final deadline to HUD is June the 30th. And that's it. We're pretty close to the finish line, which is really, really exciting. Do you have any questions?
I'm not seeing any questions coming in. Once everything has been submitted to HUD, we will be sharing some of that data. So we'll keep you updated when that has been released.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
All right. Next up, monthly training webinar. Myra?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so good morning, everybody. I'd like to thank those who attended the May HMIS user webinar. We're still accepting some feedback on the survey we sent out to those that participated. So please make sure to complete this by Friday, June 5th, if you have not already done so. We're gonna be skipping this month of training and picking back up in July with a Looker training. Specifically July 23rd, we'll be sending out a Zoom RSVP email once the date approaches. We also took everybody's feedback surrounding the user trainings and have come up with a quarterly rotating training schedule that will start in July with the Looker training. Then we'll have a CES training in September for both individuals and families. After that, we'll be offering the HMIS Part 2 training again for any new users that might have been onboarded since the last one. And then we'll have a agency admin data quality training in November. The trainings will be looping back around, so we'll be able to provide these training on like more than once a year. And we are also currently working on revamping our training videos. So we'll be releasing more information in the next coming months.
All right. I'm not seeing any questions. I'm gonna keep going. Casey.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey everyone, so last month we decided again to not do project performance reports. So this month we have another poll asking where everyone is at now and when we should plan to resume completing project performance reports. So Erin, can you start the poll? There are 3 questions this time.
Yeah, just one second.
Mm-hmm.
It's saying my polling session is inactive.
Oh no.
Do you have it on your computer?
No.
Because it's saying I'm logged in from another device.
No.
Okay, well, maybe just ask the questions and then people can get feedback in the chat.
Okay, so we're gonna get interactive this time for reals. So first we were gonna ask just a yes or no if you feel your agency is ready to resume project performance corrections, that whole process where we send out corrections about 2 weeks before we start working on the analysis.
Christine was prompt with her answer.
Yeah, Christine was like, nah. Okay.
Getting a bunch of no's.
Bunch of no's. Okay, so the second question we were going to ask is what barriers your agency is facing, and I see the no's are still piling in. So we wanted to know if the reason you feel like you can't focus on project performance corrections right now is due to being off-site and not having access to your physical files. Is it reduced staffing, additional new projects that have come on board, or just additional responsibilities related to COVID-19? I think there was another option, but I can't remember it. And then there was just an other option for you guys to share any reasons why project performance reports are kind of out of the question right now that we haven't thought of. So we're seeing telecommuting, reduced staff due to COVID, kind of shutting down projects and adding new projects due to COVID. So things are still, sounds like things are still kind of hectic. Yeah, no access to physical files seems to be a main issue. Okay, so feel free to keep sharing. The last question we were going to ask is when you guys think you'll be ready to resume project performance corrections, whether that's like when your agency is planning to move back into the office, maybe with staggered shifts or increased spacing between desks or anything like that. We were going to ask if you think you're ready now, in 1 month, in 2 months, or unsure.
We got a couple responses for July. It's looking like end of June, July for most people, potentially August. It's giving me hope that a lot of you think that you'll be able to in July.
Yeah. When you start going back into the office, potentially August. Not sure when you're going back into the office yet. Yeah, I think that's going to be pretty common.
Back in the office, 6-8. Okay. So it sounds like we're getting close, but we're not quite there yet. So hopefully next month will be the month that we can get the ball rolling again. Okay. So unless there's any questions about this, we're gonna keep going. We just like to check in with everybody. We don't wanna put another burden on you that you can't deal with right now. So thanks for your feedback. Next up, FEMA unit addresses.
Can I share my screen, Erin?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've been looking, I think you have to turn on attendee screen sharing.
Okay.
At least this meeting didn't have a password. For some reason, all my meetings keep requiring passwords, which is a pain.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, So, oh, wait, no, this is the wrong screen. Do you see the enrollment screen, Erin?
Yes, for Banana 2 pajamas.
Great, yes, my best friend. Okay, so we've been looking at some of the data that's being entered for the unit address section on the FEMA non-congregate shelter projects. And there's some variation, you know, some people spell out the word street, some people abbreviate it, things like that. So we're planning on when someone selects a unit name, having the address appear right here that can be easily copied into these fields. So agency administrators at agencies that are operating FEMA or non-congregate shelter projects should look out for an email from us asking for confirmation on your unit name's address and whether your unit is at a single site, if you have multiple sites, or if you're doing trailers or other kind of scattered site situations where clients will have different addresses in here and it wouldn't make sense to have a set address for everyone to see. So we're hoping that when you're doing an enrollment, you come down here, select your unit name, and this will change depending on the unit name you select. And all of the fields here are separated by semicolons, so you'll be able to copy and paste into the correct fields. And hopefully that will make the data entry a little easier and clean up some of the data quality on the back end. Are there any questions?
And the reason we have to do it this way is because these fields are FEMA fields, so we can't edit them and make them drop downs for all this stuff. We have to leave it a text box or text entry.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just attempting to standardize the entries for these fields and try to make the data a little bit cleaner. All right, I'm not seeing any questions.
Okay. So next we have the case notes fields in Looker. Okay, so recently Looker was updated to differentiate between case notes that were entered on the client level and case notes that were entered on the enrollment level. So there are now two case note sections in Looker for you to pick your fields from, depending on where your case notes are being entered. So I just wanted to show you guys here. Case notes that are entered on the client level are entered here in this note tab at the top of the page. And case notes that are entered on the enrollment level are when you go into a client's enrollment and click the notes sub-tab of the program page. So that will pull different data. We think we've identified all the looks that are using case notes fields and have updated them, but if you have a look that uses a case note field and you're receiving an error in your look, just submit a ticket to the HMIS help desk and we will adjust your look with the appropriate fields. I think that's it on that.
All right. One second. Linda? Hold on. Linda?
Yes.
All right. Do you want me to share my screen or do you need to share yours?
You can go ahead. I'm gonna have to share it later though. So.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So I just want to thank everyone for participating in the HMIS survey. We have gotten back all your responses and we hear you. So the HMIS team will be getting together next week to come up with some solutions and to further discuss ways on how to better assist you and to improve your overall experience with us here at HMIS. We will be finalizing the results and presenting them at the next user webinar in July.
All right.
So I just want to go over some changes that we made to the OCHMIS website. I'm going to be sharing my screen just to make it a little bit easier for you to follow along. Just give me a second here. Okay. So we revamped the OCHMIS forms and documents page so that it's a little bit easier to navigate. Originally, it was under the helpful links section right here, but we actually moved it up to the top. And then we separated it into 3 categories with a flyout menu of their subcategories. So this way you don't have to go through the entire page just to locate the document you need. So for example, if you were to go into the intake page, it would give you a list. Why is it not? Okay, so it would give you a list of all the intake forms by different funding sources. And then you will have the option to either view the file or directly download it to your computer. We also kept the old format just for anyone who prefers this layout instead. And then we also added a HMIS glossary of terms right under the helpful link section. It's located right here. So it provides a list of terms that is often used when we're dealing with HMIS. We think that this would be a great way for new users to reference as sort of kind of like a learning guide, or even for existing users to look up and kind of refresh your memory. If you guys can take a look at this and let us know if there are any other terms that you think would be helpful and that should be on this list, please submit a ticket and let us know.
Linda, do the glossary terms also highlight in other pages on the website?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's just on here.
Okay. I also wanted to ask the group if you can go back to the top, Linda,
Yes.
where yes, and then hover over client forms and notices.
Okay.
So right now we have this sorted out by type of form. You'll see an intake form, exit form, annual assessment. Does everybody prefer that format, or would you like it to be by funding type? So it would say general, and then if you click on general, it'll give you a page of all the forms, and then path, and then it'll give you a page of all the path forms. Does anybody have any preference on format? I'm getting a vote for the current format. Christine's the only one that cares. Okay, just checking. Thanks, Christine. All right. Oops.
So the terms actually are highlighted in any post on the website, and they are linked to the glossary page as well.
Okay. All right. So thanks, Linda. Let me go back to my screen. All right, so that's all the content we have for today. It was a short meeting. But we do have some time for some Q&A if anybody has any burning questions in HMIS that they would like us to talk about, or maybe do a quick demo. Got a couple more comments that they do like the current format. Okay, thank you guys. Any burning questions? I'll wait a minute and see if anybody's typing anything out. Also, if you haven't already, please enter your agency name into the chat box so we know who is participating today. Question about Looker, regarding the Looker annual assessments report. Can that be listed as head of household only? We definitely can. I guess the question is, are you sure that's what you want? Because annual assessments need to be completed for everybody. I got another question. I'll come back to that in a minute. Oh, there we go. Yes, as having all members makes the report harder to go through. Okay. I think we can. I'm just thinking through if there's potentially a situation with like a household member that's not a head of household missing an assessment, but everybody else has one, that wouldn't show up either. But yes, we can talk through that. I do think it would be easier to review if you just had the head of households on there. Another comment, because it's not listed in family order, but ID order. So if we were to sort it by household ID, Christine, would that kind of resolve your issue so that everybody's grouped together in the same household? Yes, definitely. Okay, we'll do that. We'll sort it by household ID so that you know that everybody in this household needs it, or it's only one person, and then that'll resolve that issue. Okay, cool. Yes, we will do that. I thought I saw another question. Hold on, let me find it. Question about the website page, or the question about the question I asked, I guess. If it's sorted by funding, would all the forms needed for that funding or program be listed on one page? Yeah, that's what I was asking, Elizabeth. If you prefer to see the page, if you would prefer that the page include all of the different intake forms in one spot for the different funding sources, or if you would prefer to have a page for a specific funding source and then it lists all of the forms for that funding source. So you'd have the intake form, the exit form, the assessment form, all of that on one page instead of going to the different pages. If someone is entered into the family at a different time and they are not the head of household, they could be missed. Yes. So with the Looker update we're going to make to that report, that should resolve that issue. All right, now we're getting a couple votes for doing it by funding source. Okay, we'll go back and look at it again. And think through it and then let everybody know what we end up doing in the minutes. Other questions or comments? Okay, it seems like questions have stopped, so we're going to close out this webinar. We will be sending out the meeting minutes as well as the recording from this webinar and the PowerPoint slides either by the end of the week or early next week. And our next webinar will be scheduled for the first Wednesday in July. Let me look up that date really quick. Oops. It will be July 1st. And we will send out a reminder in the meeting minutes as well as a reminder with the agenda a week before that meeting. So thanks for attending, everybody, and we will talk to you next month. Thank you.